be business opportunities embedded in that question, but really all of us should be interested in how all of these things will work. Also important, matching the infrastructure development with consumer demands in a way that keeps you and me, the owners, satisfied. For instance, and Herb brought this up and he makes a good point. In order to charge a Chevy Volt in about 3 hours, maybe 4, you need a 240 volt circuit. You know, the same thing you power your stove with. It takes 8 hours on a normal 110, 115 volt line. And to install a 240 volt circuit in your laundry room, you just do it. You have the, or Stuart would just do it, but I'd have an electrician come over and do mine. For the garage, however, and I know some of this from running D-Leg, where the construction codes are written, oftentimes you need to pull a permit from your local municipality. Any of you ever pull a permit or have a permit pulled while you had your basement or your kitchen or your bathroom done? Usually get it in about 24 hours, right? 24 months, 24 days, takes a little bit of time. That throws a wrinkle into the process of buying a car, which Americans expect to be quick and painless. Auto dealers, working with a bunch of the rest of us, are going to have to manage customer expectations. They're going to have to work together with local officials and local businesses and trades to ensure consistency and efficiency when it comes to permitting. Many of you live in the greater Detroit region. Kurt Metzger, some of you know from Wayne State, is a demographer of some note, some national import. In one of his conversations, I think he, excuse me, he's reported that in this area, there are about 140 municipalities, cities, villages, townships, etc. And one of the biggest problems we have in this area is that we don't agree with each other over much of anything. In fact, I'm going to argue that it's one of the big reasons why oftentimes so much money from this area goes to Washington and not much of it comes back, because we can't seem to get it straight. Even Lansing, and neither side of the aisle can agree with the governor, who can't agree with the, MPSC, etc. There is enough churning and frustration to go around that I would argue if we run into this problem where we have to put legislation in place just to allow for a quick permit for a 220 volt in a garage to get a car in there that you can plug in tonight because your wife's going to bring it home or your husband's going to bring it home, it could be a challenging situation. Many other cities, many other countries don't see that same problem. And so part of my talk tonight and part of our conversation afterwards, I'd like to have around the idea of how can we work together to prove to the rest of this region that collaboration and partnership can work and that we can get some good things done. In spite of the fact that we're not running the government, none, many of you are here running the governments you live in. Are you? Okay. In spite of the fact that we can't live, we don't run the governments here. But in addition, and pretty much at the end, for another thing, the best payment model for electric vehicle owners purchasing power from public charging station is all still up in the air. Just kind of like you do with a cell phone. Some folks are going to want to be on a monthly plan that gives drivers a specified number of charges at selected stations. They might find that the right way to go. But others are going to want to pay as they go. Only so many minutes over so many time. Here again, there may be business opportunities there, but those are just a couple of the things that will be in play as we work our way through all of this. If we get electric vehicles and the smart grid right, the dividends for our environment, for our economy, for our quality of life will be significant. If all goes well, in 40 years our kids will look back on the year 2010 just the way we've just looked back to the 1970s and the 80s when ARPANET and the internet became the internet. Yes, there'll be hiccups along the way, but fortune and future generations will smile on the entrepreneurs who can sort them out. I'll bet many of those are here with us tonight. Whatever the case, electric vehicles, the smart grid, and all of the complex interplay between autos, utilities, government, and us are coming. We'll manage all of it just fine, I think. And that brings me back to my story. The guy that took the police car home, my guess is the police department isn't going to be real happy with him. He's probably going to spend some time talking in front of the judge with his lawyer. And my guess is, if he's really truthful with us when he talked about it, he would say, what was I thinking? How could I have not known that getting myself into that position would put me here where I am now? Maybe even doing some jail time. 40 years from now, if we don't figure out amongst ourselves how to partner and put in place the whole series of policies and legislation that will allow Michigan to become resurgent in the automotive industry again, this time around electric vehicles, and allow those to interplay with DTE and consumers and all the other folks that will come along. And watch all the businesses that will come to be to support that entire economy. If we don't figure out how to get that right, we're going to be the ones saying, what was I thinking? I had a chance. You heard it here, we're talking about it. I think we are going to get it right.